you are depressed, if you feel aimless, if you feel like it's a struggle to just get out of bed, if the simplest tasks feel like a hustle, and you only feel like eating junk food, scrolling on social media all day, watching Netflix, porn, playing video games, or even doing drugs, you don't have chronic or clinical depression, as most shrinks would like you to think. To shove down your throat a million antidepressants and enrich a little more the billion-dollar big pharma companies who profit from treating the symptoms but never actually curing the disease. Because what it, because what is it good for a person who is actually healthy and does not need their pills and treatments? What you have is a dopamine issue, an imbalance on the reward system of your brain. What you're going through can be fixed. I'll lay it down for you so you begin to grasp how this works and why you are feeling like shit, with no motivation and no drive at all. On a physiological level, this is all about instant gratification versus delayed gratification. There's a neurotransmitter in your brain called dopamine. This thing used to be thought as the pleasure neurotransmitter on the brain because neuroscientists realized it was heavily correlated to the reward system within the brain. But it turns out it's not about pleasure. Dopamine is all about motivation. It's the thing that makes you want to do stuff. It works like this: when you do instant gratification activities like eating junk food, playing video games, watching porn, taking drugs, smoking, drinking, or even having sex, your dopamine levels fire up. You have a baseline dopamine which remains unchanged when you are basically doing nothing. Just by existing, you've got a dopamine level constant in your brain. When you do these instant gratification behaviors, they get spiked. And you feel great. But here's the catch: after that, because the brain is so smart and everything in nature has this tendency towards homeostasis, your dopamine levels drop below your current baseline and stay there. If you had, let's say, a 5 as your baseline, I'm explaining it in a bro science style now. When you do instant gratification stuff, you spike it up to a 7 or perhaps even an 8. But afterwards it drops to a 4 and remains there for a while as your current baseline. But since it felt so good the first time you did those activities and now you are feeling a little worse, you repeat again the activities and spike it up to a 7 perhaps, and then it drops to a baseline of 3. After a while, you actually need to do the instant gratification activities just to feel normal and reach a peak of 5. That's called an addiction cycle. People end up killing themselves because they never figure out this and get stuck on those vicious cycles. So what's the solution? This is where delayed gratification comes in. Turns out things like working out, taking a cold shower, doing cold plunges, fighting, feeling pain in general, meditating, reading, working hard on a business or whatever, learning a new skill or a new language, all these things are actually painful. Not only in a physical sense, some are actually, but on an emotional or intellectual level. And as it turns out, they do quite the opposite from instant gratification, aka pleasure. They actually make a dip in your dopamine levels. If you had a 5 of dopamine as a baseline, they make you go below that. That's why it feels so uncomfortable. But here comes the plot twist. After your dopamine levels drop to, let's say, 2, they actually go back to baseline. But now your baseline, instead of being 5, it becomes 6. That's why people who've been in the gym for years say they just don't feel good if they missed a workout, because literally they feel good just by existing afterwards. It's kind of funny, but it's just like putting on a pair of really tight shoes just for the pleasure of taking them off. But it's way more powerful than that, because here you are actually building something with it, unless you whip yourself or something, which actually will actually really bring you the kind of, well, you know what I mean. I'm not condoning that kind of thing. Do you see where we're going here? So by simply not doing the bad habits or any dopamine heavy activity, not even listening to music, you can actually allow your dopamine receptors to return to a normal state, and your baseline dopamine then returns to a normal 5, let's say. Once you are in such position, the idea, instead of stupidly going back to the instant gratification activities, the idea is to start doing the delayed gratification ones, knowing that not only will they make you feel better in the long run, but they will actually help you accomplish things that feel worthwhile for you and will effectively improve your life and the lives of people around you. And yes, I have tried a dopamine detox before, and I have gone back to the instant gratification stuff, and it was awesome for a day or so. Then I went back straight to depression and lethargy. Don't be dumb like I was back then, but if you must try, by all means. You need to realize how things actually work for yourself, so try it. Go an entire day without any instant gratification stuff. These are the rules of a dopamine detox. No, dopamine is not a toxin, just a neurotransmitter on your brain. So this shouldn't actually be called a detox. You are actually doing this to reduce levels of dopamine in your brain, to allow your dopamine receptors to open up once again and be more sensitive to smaller doses of dopamine, which will allow you to endure and eventually even enjoy doing hard things like meditating, hitting the gym, reading, or working on your business, or learning and developing a new skill. The rules are: no social media, including YouTube, no music, no social interactions or conversation. And yes, you get a lot of dopamine out of it, but don't worry, it's just for a day, this one at least. No TV shows, Netflix, movies, or whatever, you know the drill. Obviously not porn, neither video games, no junk food, no caffeine, energy drinks, or sugar of any kind, just nothing fun in general. Stay bored. If you want to go hardcore, don't even eat at all throughout the whole day. Make sure you don't have any stomach or digestive system issues first, but don't use it either as an excuse. Be real with yourself. And don't forget to drink water, but nothing else. Since you probably haven't been training a lot your discipline muscles lately, I'd recommend you to just do absolutely nothing this first day. On the second day, you'll be ready and born enough to start implementing the good habits and actually have fun doing them. What can you do? This is the perfect approach. Upon waking up early, preferably between 5 to 6 a.m., go for a run under the sun for cardio or workout, meaning weightlifting and resistance training, and go for a walk in the park in that case scenario, and take some sunlight into your eyes to have your circadian rhythm on point and optimized for your sleep. This must be an hour between an hour before after waking up. The second point: take a cold shower afterwards in case you work out or work out instead of running. You can actually do technically a warm shower for more optimal muscle growth, but come on, man, don't be a pussy, just do the cold shower. Number 3, you have a high protein, low carb, and very healthy breakfast. 4th, read for a while. I got 4 good recommendations for you. Take your pick and stick to it. If it feels too hard, still just read 2 to 5 pages per day to the level that you feel most comfortable with. Don't fall into the ego trap. A little is better than nothing. If you do a lot, one day and do nothing ever again because you feel you've got to perform at the same level next time, and just don't do it because the resistance becomes too great for you to overcome, then it's not worth it. Atomic Habits by James Clear, it's a really good one. Dopamine Nation talks a lot about all this subject, about dopamine and all that. The Way of Men by Jack Donovan, and or The Way of the Superior Man by David Dida. By the way, you can also do another reading session 1 hour before bed as you're winding down your routine. It has been proven that having a winding down routine and avoiding blue lights before bed optimize your sleep, and sleep is essential for repairing yourself physically and mentally and recharging your batteries completely. Don't underestimate the power of sleep, please. Number 5, meditate and write on a gratitude journal. Just write down 3 things for which you are grateful for. This will train your brain to focus on the positives in your life and feel a lot less negative emotions. It might feel at the beginning a little like a minuscule thing, but trust me, it will transform your life. With regards to meditation, you don't even have to meditate for more than 3 minutes. It's all about consistency, doing it every day and getting progressively better at it. You can download this app called Medito. It's a free app run by volunteers, and honestly it's the best, even better than any paid app I've seen so far, at least. They teach you to meditate from the ground up as a complete beginner, and if you follow their course from absolute beginner to the last one they have, you'll end up as a pretty advanced meditator. I believe you'll have at least 3 months of meditation there between all the courses. I personally did them all, and I can tell you that it transformed my world completely. It's been almost 3 years already since that, and I'm still meditating daily. Now I'm meditating between half an hour and 1 hour with 20 minutes every day. Number 6. Here's where you introduce the skill you are trying to learn, or perhaps the business you are working on. If you don't know what it is yet, don't worry about it. You can try many different things and see which one feels the right one. But do please stick to each one for at least a week to actually see if you like the thing or not for real. I don't want you to use this as an excuse to quit easily. If you begin a book, unless you have finished 100 pages already and you absolutely hate it and see no value whatsoever in it, then and only then drop it. If you have stuck to a skill or a business model for at least a week and you don't like it at all, don't see results, it's fine, because it takes more than a week in many cases, most of them, especially with business, and truly don't see yourself doing this in 5 or even 10 years, then okay, drop it and move on to the next. Like I said, you can try these ones and see if any sticks: programming, web design, editing, filmmaking or content creation, painting, photography or writing, piano or any musical instrument that you find appealing, language learning, marketing and sales. This is very good for business, by the way. Personal training, like a personal coach, self-improvement coaching or mentorship, preferably online. Most of these can actually be turned into a business, and most of these are very, very scalable. Pick one and stick to it for at least a week. Do it every day and see what comes out of it. With all this, you have more than enough to turn your shitty life into just the beginning of one of the greatest success stories the world has ever seen. Why not the greatest? Duty, honor, and pride, my friend. I'll see you on the other side, brother.